Legends tell of a destined battle between dragons. A story filled with challenge and hardship that tests the extent of will and strength. A tale of honor, of betrayal, of anger, and of sadness. And of the dragons, only one remains standing in the end. Those dragons? Me and the Dragon Engine. I knew it was coming. Once Zero and Kiwami were done, it was time to fight the Dragon Engine itself. But alongside all the stuff that's new, there's still the restrictions that make this challenge the beast it is. No upgrades, not a single one from any of the pages. No weapons, I go into every fight with just my fists. No gear, these slots stay empty the whole run. And no healing mid-fight, every hit counts. And no vending machines. If you've watched a speedrun, you know how ridiculously strong the buffs from these are. And no weapon storage. I can't pocket a single weapon in the entire run. It's either in my hands or it's on the ground. Got these two extra restrictions to make sure this game stays as honestly hard as it can get. Using buffs before fights or just stockpiling weapons would be lame. I'm Kiryu, not Batman. I don't get prep time, but I do get one piece of gear. The Champion's Ring. This game does not have the Rage Ring or Charismatic Autobiography, making this the only equipable that actually changes enemy behavior. You can see the description says that it makes enemies stronger. What does that mean? Well, there's really no definitive answer I could find online. From my testing, it seems to make enemies attack a bit more frequently, though not to the extent the Autobiography does, where you just get mobbed and destroyed. It does also give me some minor stat boosts, but I'm gonna need them considering what I'm up against. An entirely new engine, an entirely new moveset, an entirely new list of tricks and strategies to learn. Can I make it all the way to the end? Can I even get close? Will I beat the last dragon standing? Kiwami 2, Enraged and Charismatic. This is the third video in the series now, so I'm going to go over the challenge details a little quicker this time. I'm playing on hard and not legend because checkpoints make the run much more interesting and feasible. I can heal in the overworld, so I start each fight with full health and full heat. I only care about essential story fights, and if the gameplay speeds up at any point, that's me using a speed hack to save time. Also, guess the 3 hardest fights for fun. Now, let's talk about the combat. The Dragon Engine is extremely different from Zero and Kiwami. If I was trying to be inflammatory and reductive, I would say it's just bad. In reality, it's going for a more smooth and snappy kind of feel, rather than the chunky, heavy feel of the previous engine. Definitely not my preferred taste, but I'm sure I'll find some useful tools here. Before we start going over moves, I want to thank Curve Nasty Jr. for making these advanced Yakuza combo videos. They're great, go watch them. As someone who really likes fighting games, I'm super happy these videos finally gave me a notation system for these games. So from now on, normal punch, like a single square input on PlayStation, is S. A finisher, or a triangle input on PlayStation, is now T. So something like the gut punch from Zero and Kiwami would be 2ST. The famous hammer fist from 3 would be 3S2T. I'll be using this form of notation from now on whenever I talk about my attacks. If it's a little confusing, don't worry, I won't be using many combos in this game because they aren't very good. Anyway, this game gives us double finishers by default, which is nice, but there's a really long recovery animation you're forced into when an attack gets blocked. You're basically guaranteed to take a hit if this happens, so it's best to use some of the moves that have less recovery on block. One of the best moves I end up using a lot is Reverse T. It's fast, good range, knocks down, and has quick block recovery. It's definitely the move with the least risk. I'll learn some more strategies later, but for now, I'll be fighting normally while I can afford to here in the early game. Tutorial forces me to pocket a knife, but I just toss it when the fight ends, so it's fine. And then, we are forced to get the first upgrade. I'm mashing every button to try to get out of this menu, but this is mandatory. Just like before, with the Kamaki Shot Stopper, I'm counting this as part of my base moveset since it can't be avoided. And a little foreshadowing, it is an extremely good thing that they forced me to have this ability. Also, I haven't had the Champion's Ring on for these tutorial fights, since there isn't a way to modify an empty inventory like I could with the previous games. Fortunately, this guy gives me a binding, which I then transmogrify into a champ ring. As you can see, this ring gives me a bit more health and heat. I also get a bit more damage and defense, but it's not a lot considering how the health and heat increases are pretty small. Charge T is the upgrade we were forced to get. It has a neutral version that's a big kick, and a running version that's a multi-kick. There's also Charge S, which looks like it's just a single S from Beast style with some particle effects slapped on it, but both these moves are actually really good. They do decent damage and have armor. Of course, you do have to charge them, which makes them require a bit more thought than just mashing. There's also some hidden potential in these moves, but it took a bit before I really learned their true power. For now, I'm still just getting a hang of the Dragon Engine combat. Time for the first real fight. You shouldn't be surprised by this, but two-handed Ts do insane damage compared to everything else. Actually, even one-handed Ts do good damage. Normal punches just really suck. Road trip time. This is a great showing of just how truly weak normal S combos are in this engine. I mean, look at how long it takes for this one guy. It's not like I want big damage on my basic hits, but this is hardly chip damage. There's a reason I'll be relying on pretty much anything but the normal punches in this run. Still trying to get a handle on this game's combat, so these early fights might look a little sloppy while I learn what works and what doesn't. Getting blocked in this game feels so awful. But hey, check out this 3S reverse 2T. Did you know this game has unique finishers for turnaround combos? I didn't before playing this challenge. Are they good or useful? Honestly, no, not really. But hey, I gotta have some fun before the game gets hard and makes me fight for real. This C throw is actually pretty good for crowd control. And yeah, it's C because that's circle for grab, that's the notation for that. Before I started this run, I set myself a condition. If I could not beat this game's first big one, I would have to reduce one of my restrictions to make the run less difficult. I don't know the Dragon Engine well, and I can't expect anything after this to be easier, so if I fail here, my goals were unrealistic. I'd have to bend my rules. So, who's gonna bend first? Me or the game? Is this the end of my story already? Or the start of a legend.
わしらはクーデターを起こしに来とんねん。それこそがわしの狙い。それともう一つ。
俺か。
その通り。あんたの首、悪いがその価値があるか試させてもらいますぜ。
They took out the heat action for these chair guys, and combined with the low damage of this game, this is the most boring enemy ever. Oh, thank God. So I figured out some tools to deal with crowds, but how about a boss enemy in this engine? Well, this is where I really started messing with Charge S. Yeah, it can armor through moves, but it also seems to have a stun effect sometimes. The hitbox is nice and wide too. In this situation though, I seem to be trading a lot of hits with Ryuji. But to be honest, it kind of felt right. Like, this is what I want. Let's hit each other until one of us falls down. A battle of health and stamina. It's working well enough, so I kept it up. Suddenly we're under arrest? Just kidding, not really. Time for our regularly scheduled Bozo beatdowns. This guy fucking sucks at cabaret. In this video, we can see a player so atrociously... So here's our first encounter with a gun enemy. An actual beneficial change from the Draken engine. Bullets don't instantly knock you down anymore. In fact, they barely do any damage at all. I'm sure later they will when damage increases across the board. This is also where I learned that Charge S is actually the new rush cheese. Against most normal enemies, you can loop the stun effect over and over again. Since Charge S is one of the highest damage moves in our kit with an amazing hitbox, having a loop with it is actually amazing. This will definitely be one of the best things I've got at my disposal. The game warns you to do Kamaki training to get extreme heat here, but nope, we're going the entire run without it. Hey, Gary. So I tried spamming Charge S against Majima just like Ryuji, but I can't take these trades. Running away for Charge T doesn't work, and whenever he wants, he can just kick me in the face. And this is where I made a discovery. Charge S and Charge T are both really good moves. Could I perhaps charge them both? Not only can you charge both moves, but Charge S, which breaks guards, can be cancelled into Charge T for a guaranteed knockdown. And guess what enemies love to do when getting up off the ground? Block every time. This means that with the right charge timing, I have now found a safe loop on any single enemy in this entire game. To pay Majima back for this revelation, I will do his silly little mini-game. Does anyone actually like this thing? Watch me phase through this guy. Here's that Charge S loop I was talking about before. Normal enemies just get perma-stunned, so this is a perfectly safe way to deal with them. Okay, maybe the Dragon Engine isn't all bad. This is hilarious. So apparently Daigo got lost in a random building and we gotta go find him. Oh well, I'm sure we won't run into anybody wearing a particular color. If you've played this game, you know who this is. The MIB himself, the Man in Black. Charge S loops don't work on him. But after a good knockdown, yup, you're a mortal man after all. Swing and a miss. I'm going over the edge. God damn it. Damn. I don't think I have the health to afford messing up charge loops. That was close. Well, that was something. Two boss enemies. Mandatory sub-story.
久しぶりだな、桐生。
So this fight has a little something interesting about it. This room seems basically empty except for this one enemy over here. Obviously there are other intruders we're gonna have to deal with, but they aren't here. Yet. This is the first time in these challenges, as far as I'm aware, that we are dealing with true random enemy spawns. Not the kind of enemies who drop down from the ceiling when you've beaten enough people. I'm talking about, you don't have the camera looking over here, so I'm going to spawn some dudes off screen out of thin air. Luckily I've got Sayami here to take some of the aggro for me, but this isn't the only fight this mechanic gets used in, and in the wrong situation, this kind of spawning can create absurdly bad situations that are basically out of my control. Fake fire extinguisher. Always thankful to have a partner to keep my enemies occupied. He gets the OG music. Now it's all about blocking and punishing.
Boss, システムが復旧します。
よし、電源を入れろ。
Daigo got lost again. Time for a seriously long battle. If you wonder why I allow checkpoints, it's to make fights like these at least feasible. Don't worry, the second part is plenty hard enough. This might be the most annoying room in the game. Throwing knife enemies are such a nuisance. Alright, Daigo, stop getting lost in random buildings.
Soの男を返してもらう。
One of the guys who ruined my Kiwami run. Just right into it.
今頃他の幹部は戦国組が送り込んだヒットマンの餌食になっていることでしょう。
何？
欲しいものを力で奪う。それだけです。
そんなことは俺が許せない。
受けて立ちましょう。
I bet Q doesn't like guns. This still takes longer than I would like. But hey, at least it's consistent and easy. I'll take it over getting blocked and punished randomly. The game is about to step up the difficulty. The four normal enemies can just take out knives and spam throw them at any point during the fight. Makes it impossible to focus on the boss. I thought I'd go up here and hit him through the rails, but my hitbox doesn't reach. Maybe I can isolate the boss though. Thank God Sayama is here to keep the other guys busy. I'm coming, Sayama. You're doing great. Sayama, get up. Ow, you know what? Go get him, Sayama. You got this. Hell yeah.
おい
「
さすがやな。ようここまでたどり着いたな。戦力まあまあではるかを離せ。そないにゃでかい声出されたらわしのベッドが目を覚ましてしまうやない。
Two boss enemies are some of the hardest fights I can face. So how about two boss animals?
何しとるに。
疲れてるんだね。
I'm sure the car ride will be fine. When is the car ride ever fine? I hate this shit so much, man. One hit did that much. So something special happened during this fight. It took me a lot of tries, but eventually I got a fight that worked out surprisingly well, and I was able to beat this with minimal trouble. I then proceeded to play through the last fights of the game, and then I came away satisfied with my playthrough. Time to get started on editing, I thought. At some point during this fight, I must have accidentally hit yes on the super annoying prompt that appears every time you die, and it makes some sense since I tried this so many times. Not only that, but because this game only has 13 save files, with most of mine being taken up by my initial playthrough, I only had 3 saves that I had been cycling through, meaning I have to start all the way from the beginning of the game to try these fights again with the proper restrictions. Of course, the second time I used an infinite health cheat and a gun to speed it up, but it was still an insanely monotonous slog doing it again. And then, it happened a second time. Fortunately, I was ready. I had made a safety save right before the next hardest fight in the story in anticipation of how many retries it was taking. In conclusion, I fucking hate Undercover Jing-1 agent Wataru Kurahashi. I hate that this game has such limited save files, and I certainly hope the other Dragon Engine games don't have this problem, or I'll hate them too. Now, the fight. The problem is that Kurahashi just shoots his gun, a lot, and it does crazy damage. His dodge shot is perfectly timed with his standing shot, so it'll hit you if you preemptively dodge. I can't charge loop him because of the other enemies. I was genuinely out of ideas, so I just grabbed a chair and... That didn't take durability off my chair, and it actually built heat as well. I think I've got a plan now. Why did my chair break? Now it's a standoff. There aren't enough chairs to heat action him to death, so I gotta try hitting him. I had to do so much extra shit because of you.
ありゃ
どうしたんだ。
ここのシステムが必要や言うたやろうが。
This is the other fight that made me restart from retrying so many times.
それでないとやりがいがないっちゅう。よっしゃ、思う存分暴れたね。
point of no return. The left side is the non-rocket launcher route. I can't take trades like this. Just checking. You know, a while back, I mentioned a special mechanic that would return eventually. You remember what that was? It was enemies spawning off camera, and this is where that becomes a problem. This group shot's a lie. There's about double this many enemies in this fight. it begins. Spawning guns off screen is beyond cheap. I need this boss gone. I can't take another hit. Finally. Sorry, man, you're nothing special.
Ryuji. 自分の生き方を変えられない。ただバカ正直に己を信じて突き進む。
知ったようなこと。
俺の親友だった男によく似てる。戦うことこそが生きていることの証。そういう男には俺も全身全霊をかけて答えるぜ。よし、なら一丁派手に極道の穴探せようやないか。覚悟はできとるやろね。
all enemies in this game, including tigers, get knocked down by Charge T, except for Ryuji, meaning I can't charge with him. There's no way I can afford to trade hits with Charge S either, but there is something I found. You can get Ryuji into a loop where he dodges after getting hit by Charge S, and you have just enough time to charge up again and land another before he counterattacks. But you have to react to the direction he dodges and land it properly. It's a final test. You need to charge right away, release right on time, aim in the right direction. This is no pushover. It's a real fight, and I wouldn't have it any other way.
お見事や。合田会長、桐生さん。
寺田。
桐生さん、死んでもらいます。ここで終わりにしましょう。
There's always someone who shows up with a gun right at the end. But what if I just punched him? Time for the cleanup. Just checking. There are some people you may meet that just feel right to fight. Like conflict feels natural. If there's hate, it's secondary to the need to show your strength. It's not about animosity or malice. It's something pure. The joy of pushing each other, locking eyes with a bloodied smile, saying, "Come on, we're not done." It's important to get knocked down, to feel that pain of failure and loss. And if the right person does it, they'll be waiting, truly compassionate, hoping you'll stand back up. Finally, it has been done. Kiwami 2, Enraged and Charismatic, completed successfully. Thank God the game forced me to learn Charge T at the start. Without those charge loops, the Man in Black, the Fierce Tigers, honestly, almost any boss enemy would have been a serious issue. That tech was a lifesaver for the run. This playthrough definitely had its difficult sections. Without some of the long battle checkpoints, it would be near impossible considering how many fights there are in a row sometimes. Sayama being there was a big help for a bunch of fights, but in general, this was a playthrough about positioning and weapons. Less punches and more strategy. I had a pretty good time during this run, aside from the restarts, of course. In fact, I might actually say that this was more fun than my first initial run of this game. Won't be seeing the Dragon Engine for a bit though. Yakuza 6 is quite a whiles away. I'm sure you've noticed, but the gap between this and the Kiwami 1 video was way bigger than the time after the 0 video. I think I kinda pushed too hard to get the Kiwami 1 video out fast, so I probably won't be doing that again anytime soon. In fact, I actually missed the deadline I set for myself for the Kiwami video. It was supposed to come out on the 24th, but I missed it. I don't mind. I'm just happy it happened at all. I hope you enjoyed this one, and have a good rest of your day. Make it a big one.